Good morning, everybody. At least it is from here in San Francisco, California. Welcome to our information session, where we are happy to tell you more about our master's and certificate program in health data science at the University of California, San Francisco. I'm joined here by our program director, Dr. John Kornak, and I'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself. My name is Eva Wong Moy. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the graduate affairs manager here at the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. I support this health data science program from a staff position side. And so I'll turn it over to John to introduce himself.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's John Kornak. I'm the program director of the Masters and Certificate programs in Health Data Science. I'm a faculty member of Biostatistics here at UCSF in the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. And I've been here for over 20 years. And we started this program 3 years ago now. And really excited to have you consider joining our programs.
Great, thank you, John. This session is being recorded, and we will be posting the recording of this to our website in the next couple of days. So don't feel the need you have to screenshot or take copious notes. You can watch this again to let the information sink in just a couple of days on our website. Just to go over our agenda for today, we aim to give you an overview and background of both our master's degree and our certificate in health data science. We'll have an opportunity to talk through some of the coursework, our capstone project for the master's degree, as well as other requirements to complete our degree here. We'll go through a little bit of the application process, and we'll leave ample time to answer your questions. If you want to submit questions along the way, our Q&A feature is available to you at the bottom of your Zoom panel there. And that's how we'll collect your questions, is through the Q&A feature in your Zoom app. So that being said, I do see that there are 2 questions already asked. Yes, the session will be recorded, and we'll be taking questions through the Q&A. And so I'm going to turn it over to John to take us away here.
Thank you, Eva. So a little bit of background. Our Master's and Certificate in Health Data Science programs, known as MIDAS and CIDRS, are now programs that we're sort of semi-established. We've been running for 3 years, starting in the summer of 2022. And our goal was to meet the growing need for data scientists with expertise in health science applications. And we saw this as a need, both growing within UCSF and across the Bay Area, and I'm sure nationally too. The program is not as new as it sounds, because we previously had a data science track within our training in clinical research master's program, which still actually runs as a track there, and this expanded out from that. So some of our courses are quite a lot more established than just having run for 3 years. MIDAS is a 7-quarter program, and CIDRS is 4 quarters, so they begin in the summer. And MIDAS ends at the end of the following spring quarter, whereas CIDRS ends at the end of the first spring quarter. You can go to these websites to find out more information about each of these programs too. Next slide, please, Eva. So the program format, we are primarily an in-person program. And we're based at the UCSF Mission Bay campus, San Francisco, California. And when I say it, we're primarily in person, it means that you have to have a presence at the university to be able to successfully complete this program. Our lectures are in person. I said primarily, not completely, because we do record lectures. So on occasions when you can't make it to lecture, you can sort of catch up on that. Okay, next. We have some fantastic expert faculty that teaches in our program and also mentors for the capstone projects. These are the specific health data science course faculty that you see pictured on the right. I'll go from top left, that's myself. Tom Hoffman is our associate director. I'm going left to right along the top. Then we've got Aaron Scheffler, Elaine Allen, Stathis Natas, Jean Fang, Adam Molshan, and Chris Seaman, who is our teaching lead. Oh, and I missed Carla Lindquist. Sorry about that. In the bottom middle. So I was going to say a little bit more about that slide. So Midas and Citus are part of our many educational programs that we have within the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics, and you will be involved in lectures with faculty and staff that come across from diverse disciplines. The people I described are the ones that are specific to health data science, but you'll connect with faculty that are involved in clinical research and epidemiological research within our department too. Okay, now next slide. Our student body to date has been very diverse. We have students with backgrounds ranging from pre-med students, UCSF staff, including clinical research coordinators. PhD students attend our courses too, medical students, nurses, residents, postdocs, fellows, and faculty, biotech industry professionals even as well. So you will be, while you're in our courses, you'll be connected with people from a very wide range of specialties across the health spectrum and data science too. So as students, you'll be in class with people that are in our training and clinical research programs, so students, health professionals from across the campus, and it really is a strength that you get to network and collaborate with people that are performing cutting edge research in the field. Next slide, please. So our course consists of 4 or 5 major components, depending on how you look at it. There's a core set of health data science courses that you will take. And then there's also a core set of epidemiology and biostatistical methods courses. We think that these are essential for somebody working in the health arena, because you have to have this background of understanding more than just being able to apply data science methods, but understand how they integrate into epidemiological, biostatistical, and clinical science thinking. And to help with that, we have our health data science program seminar, which I'm going to discuss a little bit more later. And there's also a bunch of elective courses in clinical and biostatistical methods that you can take, and data science methods beyond the required set of courses. Next slide, please. So these list the main health data science courses. There's an introductory course that you take in the first summer, Opportunities and Challenges of Complex Biomedical Data, and that kind of gives a high-level view of many aspects of health data science and things that you'll be looking at later on in the year and going into your capstone if you're in the master's program. There's the same quarter, you do an introduction to programming for health data sciences in R. Part 1 in the summer, part 2 in the fall. And these R is probably the main focus for a programming language. We do the other one that we look at is Python, so the introduction to Python and data science tools. If you are sort of fluent in R and Python, or fluent in one and quite good in the other, then you are excellently equipped to work in the health data science arena. And even data science more generally, R and Python are the two big leading software environments. Then you have machine learning in R for the biomedical sciences that you take in the winter quarter. And extending from that, you get into a little bit more depth in understanding machine learning from theory to applications. We have an applied data science with Python course and the health data science program seminar that you look at in all quarters. Finally, there are health data science electives. For example, running this quarter, there's a Bayesian methods and Gaussian processes course. But there are a few electives available over the course of your 2 years. Next slide, please. So in addition to the health data science, the data science courses, where you have to take some epidemiological and biostatistical methods. Having the biostatistical underpinnings for your understanding of data science is really critical if you're going to be working in the clinical arena. Such careful, rigorous methods are much more important when you're talking about clinical care than perhaps if you're working in finance or somewhere where you can afford to take some risk. So the set of courses that you cover are Introduction to Epidemiology in the fall quarter. This is the only required epidemiology course, but it's quite substantial. And then there's a sequence of 3 biostatistical methods courses. The first one in the fall covers some introductory methods and testing. In the second course, you go on to regression methods, looking at linear and logistic regression. And in the third course, you dive into some more deeper methods, thinking about survival analysis and longitudinal models where you're tracking patients over time. And then finally, there's a responsible conduct of research. Again, you're working in the clinical arena where the risk involved in bad research is much higher, has higher consequences than perhaps in many other fields. And so this is a required part of your training. Next slide, please. And then there's a bunch of elective courses. I won't go through these individually, but they cover epidemiological, biostatistical, data science related areas that are important to clinical research. But if you want to look back on this, look at any of the courses in detail, I encourage you to go to the website and read about them. But these electives are available to you. However, it's important to stress we're what's called a self-supporting program within the UC system. So as such, the university does not allow health data science master's students or certificate students to take additional courses outside of our department, except maybe in 1 or 2 special cases. But just I would work under the assumption that you're restricted to the courses that are within our department. Thanks. Next slide. So the seminar program is required, and you're required to attend this program, and it's held every 2 weeks through the fall, winter, spring quarters. Obviously, if you're in the certificate program, you would be taking this for 1 year. And if you're in the master's program, it will run through both years. In year 1, we focus on a lot of internal and external speakers, tutorials, project presentations, journal paper discussions, soft skills like presentation skills, and a lot of the internal and external speakers that will be presenting will be giving you ideas that you could use for your capstone project, and will be even presenting projects that you can connect with them to work on for your capstone. Year 2 will have a little bit of that, but the focus switches towards master students presenting on their capstones. And these can be kind of presentations of what you've done or presentations of problems that you're having. It's an opportunity to have your fellow students chip in with ideas as to how you might be able to solve problems, and also faculty members that are there can give you ideas too. And it's a great way to be in a safe space to present, learn your presentation skills, practice them, and your communication skills for your wherever your career may take you afterwards. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about the capstone project for those of you interested in the master's program. This is sort of primarily what you'll be working on in year 2. You may take 1 or 2 elective courses as well, but the master's, the capstone project will occupy most of your time. There are 4 components that are required for the capstone. The requirements have changed. So I don't know if any of you looked on the website and looked at whatever was mentioned as the requirements there. They have now been updated. They're a little bit more flexible now. But the first thing you have to do is generate a publication. And there are 2 options within there. Well, the first is that you work on a first authored paper that goes into a scientific journal related to data science methods or their application in some health/clinical arena. So this can be either, depending on where your career you want to go, it can be in a data science kind of journal, or very often in a clinical application field, you can go into their journal too. The requirement is that you will have submitted that paper by the time you graduate. Option 2 is to work as the data scientist essentially on somebody else's publication. So you'd be non-first authored. Again, it should go to a scientific journal, and you would be integrated into a research team working on the data science part. You would have to write a little bit with respect to methods and results for the data science piece. And we expect you to be in the first 3 authors so that you've had a substantial contribution, and this would be discussed with your capstone team. So in addition to, since you're not writing the first author paper here, you're expected to provide a background and technology methodology report, which can be giving background about the methods. It can be about model checking that you performed, about data cleaning that you had to do, about how you made decisions between methodologies that were available to you. There's an oral defense. This is not meant to be an incredibly onerous thing. It's really just to give you a chance to present your methods. So the whole thing lasts about 30 minutes. You would present your work that you've done in the first 15 minutes, and then you'd be asked questions, really primarily to ensure that you've used the skills that you've learned in data science over the previous year in your application, how you use them, and practice your ability to answer questions. You're expected to give an oral or poster presentation at a scientific conference. For that, you need to have an abstract accepted for a conference, even if the conference doesn't occur before graduation. And then the final component is to compile a code and analysis portfolio for marketing your career skills. Increasingly in the field of data science, this is kind of the new advanced form of a CV, where you showcase the kind of code that you've been able to write, the kind of analyses that you've done. You'll link your CV, you'll link your methodology report that you've created, or your paper that you've published. So it's really a way to get across to potential employers why you're the person to hire. Next slide. Your capstone committee. So every student will have a graduate committee consisting of 3 faculty members. There's a committee chair, which consists of either myself, Tom Hoffman, who's the associate director, or Christopher Seaman, who's the teaching lead. And we're there just to ensure that everything goes on track and that the plan's reasonable and that we'll make sure that you get through to graduation. There's a biostatistician or data scientist that ideally you choose, but if you're unable to find someone, we'll assign them to you. So when you're attending your lectures in year one, you think about, whose style do you like, as you find out about what kind of research work they do, whether that fits with what you're interested in. And a clinical researcher who knows more about the applications area that you're working in. These will often, I think most people find their clinical researchers through the seminar program that we have, but we have additional resources available with people that have projects available that you could work with. So we're here to help you get this set up, and everybody does get it set up, and it works well. Next slide. Educational practice. This is part, again, if you're in the master's program, this is a required piece. It's an educational apprentice position during year 2 of the program, where you work with a faculty member in helping as in the sort of tutoring within one of the courses that you've taken during the first year of the program. And we consider this important because you'll be working with students in a lab environment, and you have to sort of explain data science related concepts that they perhaps didn't understand and help them interpret their results. And this is a critical skill for a data scientist working as part of a team. If you're in a research group and when you're presenting your results, you have to present the results in a way that is accessible to people that don't understand the methods that you're using necessarily. And it's just an acquired skill over time, and we want to help you get started with that, and hence we have the educational practice program. So this takes up 1 quarter. You work with one lecturer on one course. We try to assign you to preferred courses, so you get to kind of list your top 3 courses from the first year that you would like to be the educational practice apprentice for, and from there we will assign you as best as we can to the course of your choice. Next slide, please. So I know there are questions about careers, and I should say that our first cohort graduated in the summer, and it was a small cohort. We had 5 in the first year, 20 in the second year, about 30 in the third year, which is about the size of the program we're expecting. And in the first year, we only have a small sample, but a couple of them have gone on to kind of even higher education in the medical field, or they're applying to do so. And 2 have positions as data analysts, 1 at Stanford and 1 at UCSF. But as we think that the field that's available to you after graduating is much wider than that. In our second year, I know many students are putting in applications to the biotech industry as well. So they're going out to work outside of UCSF and work in private industry. But listing here, going through the bullet points, we graduate students that can work as professionals with a focus on data science methodology. We have a couple of current students looking to go on to do PhDs, thinking about methodological development. Can work collaboratively with clinical health scientists who supply the substantive expertise. So you work as the supporting data scientist to clinical health scientists. That's kind of a data analyst role. You may work as a professional whose primary interest is in the approaches, the computational methods and analysis, as opposed to the underlying clinical science. So a kind of consulting role. And as I said, two people from our first cohort are working in academic research groups, currently at UCSF and Stanford, but these can range to across biotech and government roles as well. Next slide, please.
I think this is where I hop back
Okay,
in.
I
We'll
pass
give
over
you a
to
little
you.
break, John.
Thank you.
Thanks. In terms of funding your time in our program, the program fee for this current academic year, in other words, 1 year of our health data science program, is about $46,000. So when we think about the master's program being a 2-year program, it's upwards of, let's do the math, $92,000 for the 2-year program. This does include enrollment in our UC student health insurance. So if you do come with comparable health insurance, you can apply for a health insurance waiver, which reduces your fees accordingly. The fees do not include the cost of books and supplies, housing, or personal expenses. The program fee is announced pretty close to the start of our academic year, sometime during the summer, and this is done through the UC Office of the President. Tuition and fees are the same for all students, regardless of residency status here in California or in the United States. So if you are an international applicant, you're paying the same tuition and fees as someone who resides in the state of California. We have a fantastic student financial services office. This is our financial aid office that provides opportunities for eligible students to apply for federal loans or federal work study jobs. And so we can talk a little bit later about the linkage to applying sooner than later to our program in order to utilize those services if you're available or if you're eligible. Applicants from outside of the United States must be eligible to obtain an F1 student visa or like visa and demonstrate they have financial support to attend the program and live in the United States. To quickly go through our application components, if you haven't opened an application with us yet, the link to our applications page is on our website. Some of the elements of our application I want to quickly go over are our test scores. We do not require the GRE. Please don't even submit them. They will not be considered as a part of our application review. For those of you who need to demonstrate English language proficiency requirements, I do want to point out that our TOEFL score is higher than the UCSF graduate minimum. The health data science program minimum internet-based TOEFL score is 100. We do require transcripts as a part of your application, and we only require unofficial transcripts, so no need to pay additional fees for official transcripts if that is what your institution does. For non-US transcripts, we request an English translation with course equivalencies and a 4-point GPA scale. What that does is it helps our admissions committee that is based out of the United States. It allows the committee to evaluate your non-US transcripts as equivalents to what we use here in the United States. For your application to be considered complete, we have to receive 3 letters of recommendation, and these can come from anyone who can speak to your academic or research potential. We don't have minimums or maximums of academics versus employers or anything of the sort. But we do highly recommend that you select individuals who can speak to your promise as a graduate student here at UCSF. We do require a resume or CV and 2 written statements. One is the statement of purpose, which has a 2,000 character limit, including spaces. So please be mindful of your limits there. The statement of purpose should really address why you want to do this training here at UCSF through our health data science program. The second statement is your personal history statement. This is an opportunity for you to let the admissions committee know who you are, and sort of what brings you to our program. This is also an opportunity if there were any challenges or obstacles you may have faced in your prior academic or personal academic training or personal life that has influenced or made some impact on your desire to enter this field of study, or that perhaps prevented you from performing at your best. Please let us know that through your personal history statement. And lastly, there is an application fee that is associated with submitting your application. We get a lot of questions typically about the application fee waiver. That, if you are eligible, is submitted through the application site and managed directly by the graduate division. So if you have any questions about submitting a fee waiver, please reach out to the graduate division and look through the guidance that's provided in our application to determine your eligibility. We have two application deadlines. The first is January 15th, 2025. And so we call this our International Student Priority Deadline, particularly because we want to be able to give you ample time, international students ample time who need to obtain new student visas, to coordinate with your local US Embassy to do that and go through all the paperwork. So we want to give you ample time to do that. So if you are an international student who requires a new student visa, please be sure to apply by that January 15th date. We also encourage early application submission for anybody who may be relocating to the San Francisco Bay Area from where you are currently, and you may require housing or financial aid. We do have housing that is affiliated with UCSF, and so the earlier you apply to housing, the better. Similarly, as I mentioned before, in terms of folks who need to apply for financial aid, the sooner you can apply to our program and obtain a mission offer from us will allow you to meet the deadlines for applying for federal financial aid. The second deadline and final deadline is April 1st, 2025. So we'll be closing off admissions for a summer 2025 start on April 1st. We will be reviewing applications on a monthly basis beginning in January. So please be sure to, if you want a decision back from us on your application, we will begin that process in January. So you have between now and then to submit your application and ensure that your letters of recommendation are also received in order to be reviewed. I also want to note that our program start date is July. So this is a little different than some programs that you may be exploring, but our start date and when we expect program activities to begin is July 14th, 2025. If you are in a current academic program that ends after that, we invite you to apply next year for our program. But those of you who will have at least your bachelor's degree completed and earned before July 14th, we invite you to apply for this cycle to our program. Okay, this is our last slide before we go into questions, and I'm starting to see some questions come through in the Q&A, so keep them coming. Just to go over through some frequently asked questions. Can I complete this master's or certificate program completely online? The answer is no. We are an in-person program right here in San Francisco, so we expect you to attend our courses in person. Do I need to have a specific degree to apply for this program? We require a bachelor's degree or equivalent from an accredited institution in the quantitative or biomedical sciences or related field. So it's pretty broad. And certainly if you have taken coursework or have professional experience within any of those fields that are related to quantitative or biomedical sciences, we certainly invite you to apply to our program. If this is a complete change from what you might have done in your bachelor's degree, let us know too. And I think your personal statement will give you a wonderful opportunity to describe why you're making the shift and what you aim to do with our training program. Is this program STEM OPT designated? So for those of you who are familiar with the F1 visa, this allows individuals who complete a program, whether undergraduate or graduate, to continue working in the United States after they complete their degree program. So our master's program is STEM OPT designated. Our certificate program is not. Okay, so that's a clear distinction. Our master's program is STEM OPT designated, and our certificate is not STEM OPT designated. And then the last frequently asked question that I wanted to just go over today is, do you offer a fall quarter start? And the answer is no. We start in the summer. We expect folks to come into the summer. And so again, if your current program does not end before our official start date, we invite you to apply for our program in the following application cycle. Okay. So we're going to open it up for questions. And I answered a few questions already that came through the Q&A. And now I'm realizing that those of you watching the recording can't see the answers. So one of the questions that came through is about the electives. What does an elective course entail in terms of what I can take in addition to the core curriculum that we have? And I provided a link to our full course listing, which is available on the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics website. If you navigate over to that and find our individual courses page, you'll see all of the course offerings that our department offers. The next question that came is, do you offer a PhD? And the answer is no, we do not offer a PhD in health data science. Our department offers a different PhD program in epidemiology and translational science. However, you're welcome to explore more about that PhD program on our website. We just did an information session. You'll see a familiar face. And on that recording, we just did an info session last week, and that recording is up on our website. Okay, so
Sorry, Eva, can I add just
yes.
a couple more to both of those last two questions? So about
course,
the
John.
electives, I think that might be partly from something I said, that there are, like, very occasionally there can be courses outside of our department. They're rare because there is potential agreements have to be drawn up between different departments as to how that will work. There may be the odd course coming up in medical imaging, for example. But overall, I would suggest that you don't, if you don't see that there's what you need within our department's course listings, then you should just assume that that's not going to be available. Regarding the PhD program, in addition to the epidemiology program in our department, there is a computational precision health PhD program joint between UCSF that I have involvement in and UC Berkeley. So I suggest take a look at that website too to see if that's of interest. And then there's also the PhD in biostatistics at Berkeley as well. So those are two. The computational precision health in particular covers kind of computer science, data science, focusing on health applications. So it's very much related as something you can step on from our master's program.
Great, thank you, Jen. Thanks for those additional thoughts. The next question we have is regarding our English language proficiency requirement. And the question is, can a letter from a university explaining that English was the medium of instruction substitute the IELTS or the TOEFL or any other test requirement? And what I'm going to do is put into the chat a link to our graduate division's website that explains the mechanism for this particular question. And so where English was the official medium of instruction, you'll need to send some documentation to the graduate division explaining what that is, and it has to come from your institution. And so that particular requirement will need, or request will need to go through the graduate division. So I just put the link to the international admissions requirements webpage on the graduate division website into the chat. Is there an enrollment fee discount if you are a UCSF employee? Really good question. And the answer is no. We do not, our program, because it is a self-supporting program, does not qualify for UCSF's reduced fee enrollment program. Even so, UCSF employees are paying the same program fees and tuition as all other students. The next question is we're sticking in the fees section. So is the fee for master's and certificate the same? Technically, no. The master's degree is a 2-year program and the certificate is a 1-year program. However, the 1-year fee is the same between the master's and the certificate program, just that the master's students are paying an additional year of tuition and fees. So there's no difference, technically. Is there an interview after passing the paperwork, like CV? So I think that's to ask whether, as a part of our admissions process, we require an interview. John?
So in general, we don't, but occasionally we do ask to speak to applicants if we want to get additional information. So we may arrange a meeting, but I would say that's maybe 10 to 20% of applicants at most.
That's exactly right. Can I start the application if I want to do the program in 2026? No. So the current application that is open and accepting application is for a summer 2025 start. If you wish to start our program potentially in 2026, then come back to us this time next year to submit your application. That'll be for next year. After the deadline, how soon can we hear back from the review committee for international students? We're really hoping, so for all of the applications that come in before the July 15th deadline, we hope to get decisions back by early February. So we're aiming to have a quick turnaround, again, so that we give you ample time to manage your visas and arrange for housing and so on.
I think you said July 15th. I think you meant.
Sorry, January
Yeah.
15th. Thank you, John. See, I have John here to check me on these things. It's moderating and answering questions is always tricky. And then, oh, this is a good question. What is the average GPA for admission? We don't keep that particular statistic that I can say. What I do have to say about that is when the admissions committee is reviewing applications, prior academic training and GPA is one small part of our holistic admission process. We're looking at the entire application as a whole. And so the GPA is just one small part of that. John, do you have anything to add in addition to that?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. John, maybe you can speak to this one. Can you please speak to the support master's students get in looking for summer internships and careers post-grad? Are there career fairs, counselors, and what have the post-grad outcomes been in the first few cohorts of the program?
Right. Well, so really we just have the one cohort that's graduated and it was a very small set. So it's, like I said, a couple of students got data analyst jobs and working in research teams at UCSF and Stanford. And a couple of students have gone on to apply for school beyond the master's program. So that's about the limit as to what we can describe. There are no career fairs that we have as such, but there's a lot of connecting with organizations around the Bay Area, including within the seminar that we bring in outside speakers. I'm constantly encouraging our students to join the Bay Area chapter of the American Statistical Association and other organizations where you absolutely can network with. I mean, the Bay Area is just fantastic for this stuff. It's all on our doorstep, and you can connect with people that are running groups within different biotech industry organizations. Counselors, we don't explicitly have. We're not kind of like that undergraduate kind of career counselor situation. But myself, Tom Hoffman, and Christopher Seaman, who are kind of the leading organizers of the program, are absolutely there to help you with thinking about careers. Um, Christopher comes from an industry background. Thomas is very much in bioinformatics, and I'm very much in medical imaging. So we cover a lot of different areas and can help you get connected. Summer internships, again, some of our seminar speakers have potential summer internships. We post any summer internship positions that become available, and we've had again speakers that have come to us because they have summer internships, and we connect them with you through the seminar program.
Great, thanks,
But
John.
I should say, and summer internship is not a required for that in the middle for the summer between the 2 years. If you're in the master's program, we do not require a summer internship. If you want to take the summer off, that's completely up to you. But if we can help you, if you want to get a summer internship and we can help you, we can help you do that. And one type of summer internship I missed was we've had a few students that have done who wanted to do that summer internships on campus. So these can be related to your capstone project or not related, or they can be in the same group where you practice doing some kind of more routine internship type work, and then that develops into your capstone project. So there's a lot of different pathways through internships if you want to look into that.
Great, thanks, John. And I'll add that as our program evolves and as our alumni base grows, we'll have more data to present to prospective students about outcomes and where they might go off to, and which leads us really nicely into our next question in terms of how many graduates go on to PhD programs. Again, out of our 5 graduates, 0, but there is interest, and they have been exploring those who want to continue on in PhD training. They are pursuing that now. So again, as our program matures, we hope to have some more data on that. But it is one of the possible outcomes is to continue on into a PhD program. The next is about an admissions eligibility requirement. Is the minimum GPA a hard requirement? And yes and no. Yes, it is, in that we will have to, as an admissions committee, give justification to the graduate dean when we make admissions recommendations for anybody who may have a GPA less than 3.0. So let me just back up and say that our minimum GPA requirement as imposed by the graduate division is 3.0 from your undergraduate studies. If you have less than that, then we want you to show us, particularly in your statement of purpose and your personal history statement, perhaps the why with that and what you've done to show either work experience or research experience, and why you might be a good fit for our program. We'll have to provide justification to the graduate dean, and it will go under review should we offer admission to somebody who has less than that GPA. So it's not a straight yes or no answer, but we want some more information from you from the admissions committee perspective and from the graduate dean in order to make an admissions recommendation. What is the program's admission rate? So really good question. Our university keeps wonderful statistics for us. I'm putting into the chat for that individual where our admission statistics live. It looks like the latest data they have here is for our 2023 cohort. So that's our second year students. They don't have the admission statistics posted for the cohort that just started this year. So again, over time, you'll see our numbers probably start to stabilize a bit, but what you see on this website here is for our current second year cohort of about 20 students. And so for those on the webinar, it's oir.ucsf.edu/student-admissions. John, I'm going to turn this one for you. Do you recommend prerequisite courses like math or Python?
Um, yes and no. I mean, it really depends on what background you're coming in with. And we do give some kind of general advice. I think it's at the time put we receive the application or when we're making an offer. Is it when we're making an offer, Eva, that we
It didn't specify, so if the individual could speak to that maybe, but I think perhaps at the point of admission or even to entry. But
yeah.
what's the admissions committee sort of looking for math preparation
Yeah,
or
so
coding
we
preparation?
definitely do suggest, especially to students without a strong math background, that you look at a few areas and we give some kind of suggested videos you can look at to try to get your skills started. Within the program, we try to make it be holistic. So we're not re you're not going to come in and have to do incredibly complicated multivariable calculus from day one or something and be expected to know it. But we'll give you some courses where you will definitely benefit from the program more if you learn the materials in these in advance. Um, Python, the math skills we're particularly talking about is getting linear algebra up to a basic level and getting calculus up to a reasonably basic level. So where you're not just looking at the board and it looks like symbols that you don't understand. Python's less critical. You'll be taken, um, you have the opportunity to build that from scratch, but I would highly recommend um, looking at Python and R tutorials in advance and getting familiar, give you a step up, but more critical are the basic math skills. Oh, and understanding probability. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, John. I'm going to try and give this one to you as well. Would someone working full time be able to handle this certificate program?
Um, yeah, this is almost like a yes and no kind of answer too. It would be tough. I mean, you could potentially do it, but you would have to have some. I mean, you would have to attend lectures. So these are primarily on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and although you could occasionally miss here and there and rely on the video, I think you would be getting a very suboptimal program if you tried to do most of it online through online videos. Um, if you could arrange your working week so that you're working long days on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you're able to attend lectures on Tuesday and Thursday, but it would be tough. I mean, this is a full-time course overall, so yeah.
Yeah, to echo that, I think it would really depend on the flexibility of your position and of your job and what that looks like, to be able to allow for the flexibility for you to attend courses in person. We're in the Mission Bay neighborhood, and that's where all of our courses take place. So take that into consideration when you're considering balancing not only potentially another job or position outside of UCSF, but for those of you who may have families or other responsibilities, the expectation is that to get the most out of our program, attending your courses and your labs in person would greatly benefit your experience in our program. So think about that when you're considering how to balance out your academic responsibilities in our program and what you may have outside of your academics.
On the other hand, so if an effectively part-time position would be much more doable, but
That's right.
yeah.
Um, Okay, we have two more questions, and I think that's probably all we're going to be able to get to with 4 minutes left with our time here today. But thank you for all of your wonderful questions today. If I have my undergraduate in the United States, and I'm assuming that that means you've earned your bachelor's degree here in the United States, but I'm an international student, do I still need to submit TOEFL scores or English language proficiency? The answer is no. If you are an international applicant, but you obtained your bachelor's degree here in the United States, Or if you're currently an international student studying in the United States and have completed 1 year of study, then we do not require proof of English language proficiency. And again, all of this is outlined on the Graduate Division's International Admissions Requirements website. Does the program offer part-time work opportunities or research/teaching assistantships that can help offset tuition costs? Certainly, we've had several students who have pursued part-time work opportunities as research assistants on campus. And what I do want to note and emphasize is that this is student led. So we are not in a position as a program to place you into these opportunities, but students are responsible themselves for seeking these opportunities, whether they are part-time GSR work, or coordinating with the financial aid office to find work study positions. Any opportunity that our students have found has been student led. Certainly through our program seminar, we are introducing you to folks who may have positions available, to which our students can reach out and connect directly with them. But this is not something that, we will place everybody into a GSR role or paid position. That is very student led. Okay. And then lastly, this will be our last question and we'll let everyone go. Is this master's program more related to the PhD in biological medical informatics or computational precision health at UCSF? John?
Definitely the latter.
So the latter meaning the computational precision health program.
Yes.
Yes, excellent. Okay, that's all she wrote. So thank you all for joining us today and for bringing your wonderful questions. If you have any further questions, or please reach out to us at healthdatasci@ucsf.edu, what you see on your screen here, and one of us on the team will respond to you. Thank you again for joining us. We hope to see your application come to our program soon. And thank you, John, for being here with me today.
And thank you, Eva, for leading the
course.
meeting. Appreciate it.
Of course. Have a wonderful day,
everybody.
everybody.